Well, good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition, of course, of In the Pocket with the legend himself in Peter Spida Everitt. And Spider, I feel privileged, to be honest, mate, because you've let me in to the Gold Coast. You are the unofficial mayor up here, mate. You give me the tick of approval, and I've been allowed in, and the weather's magnificent up here, big fella.
Yeah, how good is it you're going to be heading home before the big wet comes? We had wet, we had rain, but the last month and a half, it's been magnificent. And that's what we love about, school holidays. The Gold Coast there's nowhere better to come, and that's why we love footy on the Gold Coast, and it continues to grow. But, look, we've let you in, but the door closes midnight on Friday night, so if you're not out, all right, there's trouble.
Hey, listen, look at this
and
view.
The only reason, let's be honest.
I don't want to rub it in, but have a look at this. Have a look at this for a view, Spide.
Oh, yeah. The Marriott, one of the best.
Absolutely.
The Marriott, one of the best swimming pools there are in the country. When you've got, what have you got? What are they? The fish and everything that swim in the pool with you. It's magnificent. The kids love it.
It is absolutely sensational, Spide. Now, listen, let's talk about last week's round of football, of course. And what a cracking game, the Tigers and the Cats. Are we going to see a better game in season 2022? It was just one for the ages, wasn't it? It had everything, Spider.
Absolutely. It had, and I think it was Henry marked the goal in the last minute. We were texting you saying, I don't know about the Tigers. The Tigers have come back. Geelong off a massive start. But, that was an absolute classic. If you can replicate that game into the final series in September, people would absolutely love it. The crowd were going nuts. Even I was on my chair, and when they've taken the mark, Henry, like I've jumped up, and it was just, and we picked that. Like the AFL couldn't have asked for a better structure of games, which really start defining the 8. But more importantly, it just gives the good quality sides a good run against good quality sides. So look, it was a great weekend of footy. Absolutely loved it. And I went multis every part of the way, and every one of them was let down by one leg. Prestia needed 20 touches. We saw what happened to Prestia. The Gold Coast Suns, I had at the line, and then I had them also just to win. So 2 points cost me there. But you know what? Around the money, it was a fantastic weekend.
Absolutely, and gamble responsibly, of course. That is the key message from these guys at Palmerbet. They do it well. And I'll tell you what, before this year's out, big fella, I've got a sneaking suspicion you are going to snare an absolute huge multi for the followers out there. And there's becoming a cult following, to be honest, of your big multis each and every week, big fella.
Well, I've got a nice one today, a little later on today. But, absolutely. Look, that's me, though. I love the multis. I love doing a couple of legs. I love looking players. I love looking at goals. So it's a little bit of fun, and I enjoy it. Keeps me interested in every game over the weekend right to the end. But you know what I've loved about this footy, and I know we're going to hook into this weekend's games, is the fact that I love the footy from a Thursday night to a Sunday afternoon. The Sunday afternoon footy wasn't, when Fremantle weren't travelling that well, it wasn't a real highlight of a game. But now the Sunday fixture is absolutely back. That one that leads you into the 6 o'clock news, and when we used to go out, we used to have to be home by the time 60 minutes started. Now that no longer starts at 7:30. So if you're home by the end of the Sunday Arvo game, you're going to be fresh for Monday.
Absolutely, Spide. Now, what about the minor premiership? We've spoken a fair bit about that. Demons got into as tight as $1.50. Back out to $2.70 last week, before last weekend's round of footy. Now back into $2.50. They're a lock. They're a late Misère for mine. Geelong at $3.10. Brisbane at $6.50. Carlton at $10. Freo at $10. Sydney at $15. Seriously, you're just getting better value. The Demons are back, mate. When the whips are cracking, they're the team to beat.
Absolutely. They were back last week. And I think to be able to do what they did to Brisbane, does it say more about Melbourne or more about Brisbane? I'm worried about Brisbane. Yeah. They got a cracking game.
So am I.
Yeah. Brisbane at $6. You're not putting any money on them with any confidence whatsoever come September. And we know what they've done over the last couple of years. So, you've got to start looking who out there is capable of beating Melbourne. And, probably Sydney might be one of them. Maybe outside of that, Geelong. When Geelong are up and running, they'll be probably competitive. They've got the big forwards to go on the big backs. They've got some really strong backmen to go on their forwards. So probably at the moment, and I'm looking at and I know, I don't want to say it too loud, but I'm looking at the Tigers. The Tigers, they're there. They're there. Mate. They only need a couple more wins. They get there. top four probably just out of the equation, but it's not totally out of the equation. Absolutely. And then are they competitive? Can they beat Melbourne? Absolutely they can.
Yeah, I reckon that loss last weekend of the Cats, and they had that tight loss against the Swans too. So, to be honest, the Tigers' form has really stacked up the last kind of 7 or 8 weeks. And put it this way, Spot, I don't think a team's going to want to play him come September.
No, absolutely not. And, that's the thing that's going to be hurting a few teams when you're starting to look at them at the moment. There's a few teams that are going to be hurt because they look at the draw and they think, oh, yeah, and we said at the start of the year, it's not who you meet, it's when you meet them. And, you don't want to be playing Richmond at the moment or Sydney.
Nah, absolutely. Now, listen, the brand new segment, which we started last week, put a line through them, okay? So the line's gone through the Kangaroos, West Coast, Essendon, Adelaide. All right, I'll give you a little bit of a reprieve last week. You wanted one more week up your sleeve before you put a line through a couple more. And once the line's through, mate, you can't come back on it. Okay, so what have you come up with this week for a spot? Who are we putting the line through, buddy?
This week's an interesting one. I think this week, but next week is going to be the tough one. Tough market next week because we've got to start thinking of, Port Adelaide and the Suns game last week was remarkable. Only a kick. Suns allowed them back in. The Suns would have been beaten by 40 or 50 points. They weren't. They continue to rally. They're back. And the game this weekend against Collingwood is going to be huge. But for me, put a line through GWS, put a line on. So, look, we're through the bottom 6. Now.
Right, so the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the bottom 6 are gone, mate, on the ladder as they stand. And then in 12th position spot, you've got Port Adelaide, Gold Coast, St Kilda, and then Richmond working our way back up the ladder. Anyone else there you're prepared to put a line through this week?
I don't know. I'm going to put 2 next week. The one that's really on the outer is St Kilda. Saints can't get it right. They were destined to be a top 4 team a month ago. And right now, I think they're the ones that are going to be the next on the chopping block, unfortunately. Suns are still competitive. Port Adelaide showing a bit of form.
Have a listen to the Saints' next 3 games. They play the Blues, the Dockers, and the Bulldogs. So, to be honest, if they don't get it together and they don't get it together quick, they will have a line straight through them and they will be Gonski.
Yeah, and that's the tough one. I think, just one more week to watch a couple of these sides because if Port Adelaide, because realistically, they're only out by 1 game of the 8, Port Adelaide and the Suns, and the percentages are pretty good for the Suns. So you got to start weighing up percentages and looking at that. So give us another week. We'll start ticking them off. There's no need to rush, but I'll tell you what, we'll have a top 8 over the next couple of weeks.
Right, you're sharpening up that pencil, mate. So Adelaide, GWS, Hawthorn, Essendon, West Coast, North Melbourne, they are all gone.
Gone.
According to the great man Spotty. I've got to agree, mate. They're all gone. They are absolutely gone.
Look, they're the easy ones. We know that, punters, but I'll tell you what, next week it starts to get juicy because we'll put lines through a few. And look, in our words, we'll guarantee them.
All thanks to Palmer Ben. Hey, listen, let's have a look at this weekend's round of matches. Round 16 action starts on Thursday night. Massive game here, especially for the Lions. They've got to bounce back and they've got to bounce back hard. They take on the Western Bulldogs up at the Gabba, 7:20 p.m. We love that time slot. Lions head-to-head $1.47. Bulldogs at $2.70. Lions at the line minus 13.5 $1.90 plus 13.5 for the Bulldogs $1.90. Remembering back to that cracking final last year, went right down to the wire, Spider. This is a massive game, especially for Brisbane at home, isn't it?
Oh, well, Brisbane are better side at home. We know that. They're pretty sure. I thought, if this was played in Melbourne, it's going to be a lot closer. There's no doubt about that. The weather's going to really hurt them. It's supposed to be a fair bit of rain coming over the Gold Coast and also Brisbane over the weekend. So this isn't going to be the best for them, but they might just miss it being an earlier game in the round. So, look, I still reckon, the pace of the Bulldogs, just Libba and Daniels, and then you got Norton up forward. I reckon they can still scare Brisbane. And, look, you could go either way. I think Western Bulldogs at the line, 100%. I reckon Brisbane's going to blow them out of the water. The Western Bulldogs will continue to fight. And I just like their midfield at the moment. They're running hard. They're getting the ball. And look, they're hard to catch. So, for me, Western Bulldogs at the line.
Beautiful Spide. Right about Friday night football, 7:50 p.m. Marvel Stadium. This is a crunch game. It is the Blues taking on the Saints. Head-to-head, $1.56 for Carlton. St Kilda, $2.45. The line, the Blues minus 9.5, $1.90. Saints plus 9.5, $1.90. This is it. This is a crunch game for the Saints.
Yeah, absolutely.
Win or lose.
Yeah, you look at the Saints forward line and they're not really going that well. You know, they're question marks around different parts of their ground, their game. And, you know, look, they are a hard contested tackling team. And if they haven't got that, they dropped Bradley Hill and also Paddy Ryder last week. Was it for discipline? Was it because they had other issues going on? Yeah, and that's when footy clubs start to fall apart. So for me, I reckon Carlton, I watched them a little bit last. They were good. The Curnow up forward with McKay, all the others, it was their forward line just runs. And that Curnow, whatever he's on, he's worth his weight in gold there at the moment. He plucks everything. He's up the ground, 50, 60 out. He's back in the goal square. He's crumbing, kicking goals. You just put it in the vicinity of him, they all get nervous, and it just opens up opportunities for Carlton. So for me, you know, as much as I want to see the Saints play finals, I reckon Carlton are going to get this one. They love Vossi. He's going to be the mayor of Carlton. Lygon Street will have a statue of Vossi out there, no doubt about it. If they play finals, finish in the top four, Vossi, you finally got your brown statue in Lygon Street.
Hey, Vossi's doing a magnificent job, and they're the real deal, the Blues, for mine. They are playing magnificent. They've had their backs to the wall with a few injuries and that throughout the season, but they're getting the job done. Full credit to Michael Voss and full credit to the Carlton Football Club. Essendon v Sydney Swans, Saturday afternoon at the MCG, Spider. Bombers, disappointing last week. And I think we both called it. We like the Eagles, mate. They you know, at home, there was always going to happen for mine at a nice little price too. They got crunched later on in the week, but the boys at Palmerbet, mate, they had them at $2.90. I couldn't believe that at the start of the week, the West Coast Eagles. Anyway, Bombers, $3.35. Swans, $1.33. At the line, the Bombers, plus 19.5, $1.90. Swans, minus 19.5, $1.90. Swans, absolute Monty here for mine, Spy.
Absolutely. Take them at the line, get a little bit more value. They'll beat them by over 20 points, there's no doubt. You know, when you look at Isaac Smith, it's just been fantastic for him with a run, kicking goals. Papley, he's still got Lance Franklin. Like, they are a quality team. They are a team. That's what I love about Sydney Swans. There's no doubt they are a team. The Bombers are far from a team at the moment. They've got great quality players, but they're not playing as a team. So for me, Sydney convincingly. So Sydney will still continue to push for that top four, stay in the top four, and see how. For the Swannies.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, a little bit of audio there, but we're going to push on. Adelaide Crows taking on the Melbourne Demons. Saturday at the Adelaide Oval. Head-to-head, the Crows at $5.80. Demons at $1.14. At the line, the Crows plus 35.5. They're at $1.90. The Demons minus 35.5 at $1.90. Mate, Demons back. They're the premiership favourites, and they should be, Spide.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't even get close to them. And, you know, they're just a quality side. We love... You know, and it was hard when they started to lose a little bit. People thought, oh, gee, they are beatable. But, gee, when they get their full team back and they are switched on and they run, you can't get near them. So, yeah, Melbourne for me. I think they'll win convincingly again. I don't reckon they're going to smash them out of the park by 70 or 80 points because, you know, very rarely it kind of happens on the off-season. But normally those ones when you think it's going to happen, it's normally that 6 or 8 goal margin which get them over the line. So, for me, yeah, Melbourne, you can't go past them.
What about the Cats, mate? They played out at GMHBA. They take on the North Melbourne Kangaroos. $1.01. That's right. You heard it. The Palmerbet boys. They don't want to give anything away.
No, come on. Give us something. Something.
Give us something. $1.08 at least. Kangaroos at $16.70 for this game. At the line, the Cats minus 65.5 at $1.90. That's the biggest line I've seen. The Kangaroos plus 65.5 at $1.90. I think the Cats got 4 or 5 games at home to wrap up the season. So you would think, Spide, they're going to win all them and probably lock down a top 4 finish, I reckon.
Yeah, I know. They are kissed, aren't they, the Cats? They get a lot of home games. They've been looked after. But, you know, for North Melbourne, tough for them. Their first side lose 10 games in a row by over 40 points in the AFL. So really hard year for them. The coach is under the pump. Every player's under the pump. They just can't wait until the end of August and they can move on. But yeah, Geelong, but this could be one. I think they'll win by 40 plus. Will it be 60, 70? I don't know, but they'll win. They'll get the 40 plus covered. So unfortunately for North Melbourne, there'll be 11 losses by 40 plus in a row. So the Cats, but gee, they're just so good. With Dangerfield's coming back in, they're two tools up forward. Now, I just love, I enjoy watching the Cats play. Unfortunately, they had an incident during the week, which saw, Tom Stewart get rubbed out for 4 weeks. But you know what? It was called for. It was, and I know that the way he acted over the weekend, you could see that he wasn't happy with his own actions. So Geelong will keep on Geelonging on.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Gold Coast taking on the Collingwood Football Club. This is Saturday night up at Betchcon Stadium. This is going to be a beauty for mine. Suns $1.80, Pies $2. Suns at the line minus 2.5, $1.90. Pies plus 2.5, $1.90. You're heading along to this one, Spider, because I reckon this is nearly match of the round for mine.
Yeah, no, I'll be going along for sure. It's going to be huge. They'll get over 20,000 here, Metricon Stadium. Got Daryl Braithwaite singing Horses to start the party. So absolutely, it's going to be fired up. He's a Collingwood supporter, I found out, big Daryl. So he lives in Collingwood as well. So look, for me, you can't pick. I think Gold Coast Suns at home are a better side, but Collingwood are playing a very, very good brand of footy. So as you say, absolutely could be the match of the round. I'm going to stick with the Suns at home. They really desperately need a win, and I reckon they'll be throwing everything at them. It's going to be quite wet, so we know that hopefully that can help the Suns a little bit. Stick with the Suns.
Spy, let's have a look at Richmond v. the West Coast Eagles now. Sunday, 2:10 p.m. at the MCG, of course. Head-to-head, Tigers $1.11. The Eagles $6.10 at the line. The Tigers minus 36.5, $1.90. Eagles plus 36.5 at $1.90. This is going to be a totally different Eagles outfit to the one that the Tigers absolutely disposed of early on in the season, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, it's a total different Richmond outfit as well. So, look, I love the Tigers. I'm on them. I'm with you. I've had to buy you dinner 3 times. I'm on the Tiggy. But look, to be honest, yeah, West Coast had a good win. They'll be competitive, but they won't get over Richmond. I think they'll have all lines covered. I think it's going to be before the end of the season. Jack Rewalt's going to have an absolute day out and kick 6 or 7. I don't know what week it's going to be, but I have the feeling in my waters it's going to happen, and it could happen this week. So for me, Jackie Rewalt to kick over 2 goals and then take out whatever else you want. So I just love their spread of goal kickers in Richmond. They've got so many great players and so many players able to kick goals, and they get amongst it and get excited. So for me, Tigers easy.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. They're playing really good footy at the moment. Jack Rewalt, he's an absolute superstar and has been for a long time. GWS v Hawthorn, Sunday, 3:20 at the Giants Stadium. Head-to-head, Giants $1.50. Hawks $2.61 at the line. The Giants minus 11.5, $1.90. Hawks plus 11.5 at $1.90. Been a tad disappointing, Hawthorn. Fair to say, probably both these teams the last 4 or 5 weeks, haven't they, Spied?
So hard to pick. Which way are you going to go? I reckon it's going to go 2 ways. And there's going to be one team that wins. I'm pretty good. Okay. So that's one. Unless you get the 0, the draw, which is like a 0 on roulette. But one team will win. GWS will either win by 40 or they'll lose between 1 and 39. So I'm taking GWS with a couple of little goal kickers and a couple of little side, possession getters to win by plus 40. But I'm also taking Hawthorn, the same kind of deal with a couple of goal kickers and a few 20-plus possessions, 1 to 39. Because I can't pick it. It's either going to be one way. Because if
Hedging your bets.
Yeah, if Hawthorn turn up, they can absolutely have a crack and beat GWS. I don't reckon they'll get them by 40 plus, but they'll get them. But then if Hawthorn don't turn up and GWS are there, they'll win by 40 plus. So difficult one to pick, but for me, I'll be hedging my bets.
Another match of the round for mine. This is absolutely magnificent. Fremantle v Port Adelaide, Sunday at Optus Stadium, 5:20 p.m. It's a twilight game. Dockers $1.38, Power $3.07. Bit of value there for the Power. Dockers at the line minus 16.5, $1.90. Power plus 16.5, $1.90. To be honest, mate, I'm liking what the Power are doing at the moment. I know they only just got over the Gold Coast Suns last week, but I reckon they're overs here, Spide.
Yeah, well, the Gold Coast Suns aren't terrible either. So it's not like the Gold Coast Suns of 2 years ago. They've been very competitive.
That's right.
I like it, but look, Freo, we've underestimated them all year and they continue to deliver. They get up, they're playing at home. a cracking crowd. Not only that, as you say, it's one of the matches of the round. So whoever thought Melbourne on a Sunday afternoon, a lot of people would sit down and watch Fremantle versus Port Adelaide. No one. This means so much. This is a massive game, and I absolutely love it. I think Fremantle, I reckon they're in too good a form. They've just got good spread all over the park, and you've got Fife, who's really just easing himself in. He'll be ready come September. He's just slowly building up. So for me, yeah, I reckon Freo. I reckon we're underestimated Freo. As good as Port Adelaide's been, Freo for me.
Yeah, look, it is going to be an absolute ripping round of football, I reckon. Round 16 of the AFL squad. Really getting down to the nitty-gritty part of the season now. Now, listen, what about the big Spida Everitt super duper multi, mate? What do you got for us this week, big fella? All thanks to Palmerbet.
Yep. Have a listen to this, because this can go three ways. This is a three-way multi, but makes sense, okay? I'm taking all these sides at the line. So Bulldogs versus Brisbane, take them at the line, because I reckon they'll get them.
Right, Bulldogs.
Take the Saints at the line against Carlton, okay?
Yep.
All right. Sydney at the line against Essendon. So Sydney should get over the line by 20-odd points. Melbourne at the line against Adelaide. They should beat Adelaide by 6 goals, you'd think. Richmond at the line against West Coast.
Gee.
All right.
Yep.
And Freo at the line against Port Adelaide. You can just pick your best. You can pick your best 5 out of those and get 27-1. Pick your best 4 and still get 13-14-1. So for me,
good betting, mate. Smart betting, Spida.
Absolutely. If you think the Saints are a little bit nervous, just take 5 and get 27-1. Don't get greedy, but I'd be looking at a lot of those sides to get along the line this weekend, which they should be able to cover. And I'll tell you what, nice, simple, easy multi. Then just have to sit back, watch Fremantle versus Port Adelaide. Freo get up. Multi's home. Happy days for the weekend. See you Monday at work. Start early. That easy.
Hey, listen, mate. You're an absolute superstar. Gamble responsibly. That is the message, of course. All thanks to Palmerbet. That has been this week's edition of In the Pocket, big fella. We're going to catch up too on the Gold Coast, but I'm looking forward to having a couple of quiet little beers at some stage in the next couple of days with you as well, big fella.
No, he's already onto about his steak. Okay, I'm going to get you your steak and your chicken parma and your beers.
No, don't worry about it. Hey, listen, the good thing was when I jumped in an Uber from the airport early on in the week, Spot, and the bloke had the radio on, and I said, hey, listen, mate, I said, what radio do you listen to up here? And he said, he listened to that bloke Stewart Everitt. I said, oh, interesting. And the old ears pricked up a little bit. I said, what? I didn't let on anything at the start. I said, now, what's he like? He goes, actually, mate, he's pretty bloody good. He's got a couple of girls that he's on with. He said he keeps them in check. And I said, well, good. I said, because I actually do a show with him, and that is a fair dinkum story, mate. He was a big supporter and a big listener. He loves you. So,
my old man's been driving cabs up here for months. So,
I love your work, mate. Good to talk to you.
Enjoy the weekend of AFL. It's a huge weekend of AFL. Enjoy it and gamble responsibly and, have fun.